So a new Wall Street Journal poll finding that Biden's age and handling on the economy may be hurting his re-election chances. You got 39% of voters with a favorable view of the president. 73% of voters say he's too old for a second term. Well, former White House Deputy Chief of Staff Karl Rove with us now. Karl, good to see you. What did you take away from this poll?
Morning.
Broadly speaking, what did you learn from it?
Bad news for everybody, but especially for the president. What do you mean may hurt him? Think about this. His favorable is 39, his unfavorable is 58. But guess what? That's the exact same number for the favorable and unfavorable for Donald Trump. We have the two most disliked candidates, front runners for the Republican and Democratic nominations in history. And you're right, mentally fit. Biden is 36% say yes, 60% say no. Trump, it's 46-49. Too old, 73-22 for Biden, only 47-45 for Trump, who's only 3 years younger. So Biden's in tough trouble on the issue of age and mental fitness. And who thinks that's going to get better for him? It's not. But the rest of the poll has a lot of bad news on how they view the candidates on being honest or corrupt or likable. And on those, it's mixed. Biden is seen as more likable. Trump is seen as more corrupt. Biden is seen as more honest. There's bad news in here for everybody, but this is the biggest number. You put your finger on it.
If we think about James Carville in 1992, he said it's the economy, stupid. And call for number 3 here, as the same poll shows that 58% of voters say the economy has gotten worse over the past 2 years. And I wonder, Karl, the White House is very frustrated. They're mad at the public for not understanding how great the economy is. And they are doubling down on Bidenomics. And they keep saying, but look at all these great things that we did in the IRA. What was it? The Infrastructure Act, that was not for reducing inflation, but for green energy projects. And people figured that out. How, if you were at the White House, how would you counsel them to try to turn that around? I just don't see them making any sort of pivot.
No, they're not going to make a pivot. And they seem to think that if they've got a green energy job or green energy project somewhere, that's going to be felt by everybody everywhere. And that's not the case. What do people feel every day? They feel when they go to the grocery store or the gas pump higher prices than they were paying a year or two ago. They go to their business and they're told at their business, we're worried about the future of our sales and our profits, and we're worried about whether we're going to expand or not, or whether we're going to find enough good workers or not. That nobody is sitting there saying, God, this is a fantastic economy, and aren't we lucky? Instead, they're saying we got a lot of problems and we see more on the horizon. Mm-hmm. They've got to start with the reality of people living in the real world, not believing that they can just simply take the Inflation Reduction Act or Build Back Better or whatever, all of these things, the Infrastructure Act, and just simply say everything's great as a result of us passing these laws that have no impact on you.
So, Karl, last hour we talked to 3 Republican voters, caucus goers, I should say, in Iowa. Mm-hmm. Just a bit of a sample. One was a pastor, one was a farmer. This is what they had to say about the current field.
I'm open to listening to all the candidates. I think that Governor DeSantis is really doing a great job.
I think that we need to not count anyone out just yet. And I think Nikki Haley showed up at the debate and really made a place for herself at the table.
If everything's cleared and he's able to run, well, then of course that's the route I'm going to go again, because I think he's the front runner for this country.
That last gentleman voted for Donald Trump 2 times. He's given DeSantis a look right now, but would vote for Trump again, which brings me to the question. It's a binary choice, right? If it's Biden-Trump, and what Biden had 81 million votes and Trump had 74.5 million, it's 155 million votes. And all those numbers you showed us within that poll they're kind of negative, right? I mean, they really reflect on both men in a bad way. So what happens to that 155 million number?
Well, I think we may see, we've been in a secular period starting in 1996 where each presidential election, with a brief pause in 2012, has seen an increase in the number of people voting. And we may see a pause in that in 2024, because if the 2 nominees are Biden and Trump, these are unpopular figures. These are the least popular front runners in the history of polling. So what's likely to happen is that people say, you know what, I'm not voting, I'm staying home, or I'm throwing my vote to a third-party candidate. It's a lesson for each party. The party that figures out that a new face who can appeal to outside the core of the 2020 presidential election has got the upper hand in 2024, particularly if it is the Democrats, because the Democrats have, a candidate who thinks he's going to look younger, who thinks he's going to be more verbal, who thinks he's going to show more mental fitness in the next year and a quarter.
Right.
That's just impossible. That ain't going to happen.
Carl, nice to see you.
Great to see you. It looks like you're in a good place today.
Yeah, really.
Here's the backdrop.
You win.
Have a good time, Carl.
I'm going fishing.
Enjoy
I'm
it.
going fishing.
Thank you, Carl. Talk soon.
Thank you.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.